Welcome to the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School Arithmetic program. In this lesson, we'll continue our study of arithmetic as we prepare for studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. We have learned that arithmetic is a study of quantity. Let's repeat that together. Arithmetic is a study of quantity. And we learned that quantity is anything that can be counted or measured. Quantity is anything that can be counted or measured. So far in Petty School Arithmetic, we have learned how to count and read the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If we learn one more number, we'll know all the numbers that there are. Let's go ahead and learn the last number. How many pennies do you see on your screen? Point to the pennies and count. Wait a minute. I don't see any pennies on that screen. How can I tell how many pennies there are if there are none? That must be the last number. The last number we need to learn is the number 0. 0 means there are no items. We use words like none and nothing to mean the same thing as 0. Trace the number with your finger and say 0, 0. And then count the pennies on your screen. Oh, never mind, there are no pennies. This is 0. And just like every other number we've learned, 0 can be written in different ways. Look at the red 0. It's square like a book. And the blue 0 has a line through it. They look different, but we can still see that they're zeros. You probably know it's game time now, and it is. Let's go ahead and see if you can find the zeros on your screen. In the next screen, we'll see where they are. There they are. You can see the zeros in red on your screen. How many were there? 1, 2, 3. There were 3 zeros hidden on that screen. Would you like to try a harder game? Let's go ahead to the next screen. See if you can find all the zeros on this screen. I'm going to warn you, they look a little bit different. See if you can find them, and on the next screen, we'll see where they are. There they are in red, and you can see that they're those funny zeros with the lines through them. Were you confused by the lines? Did you find all these zeros? You can see that even though there are little differences in the way numbers are written, we can still always tell what number they are. And now I have some good news for you. You now know all of the numbers. There are no more numbers to learn. If you know the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, you know all of the numbers. But just because you know all of the numbers doesn't mean that we can only count up to 9. We can count forever and never run out of numbers because we'll learn how to write them in different ways to show different quantities, quantities that are greater than just 9. Let's practice here. How many pennies do you see on your screen? Point and count each penny with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and what's next? 10. There are 10 pennies on the screen. But how will we write 10 if there are only 9 numbers? How do we write 10? Let's take a look at your fingers. Hold your fingers up like you see them on the screen, and we'll count your fingers and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers on one hand, 6, 7, 8, 9, and what's next? 10. God made us with 10 fingers on our hands. Our fingers are one set of 10 items. Our fingers are one set of 10, or 1/10. But how do we write 10? To learn how to write the number 10, we need to learn something else about the numbers we've already studied. When we count, the things that we count are called units. And so the numbers that we have studied are all different units. For example, on this screen, there is 1 penny. And so we write 1 unit. 1 unit. On this screen, we see that there are 2 pennies. And so we write 2 units. 2 units. On this screen, we see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pennies. And we write 5 units. 5 units. Now, since there are only 9 numbers, the greatest number of units we can write is 9. On this screen, there are 9 pennies, and we wrote 9 units. This is the most units we can write. After this, we need to do something different. And this will show us how to write the number 10. Let's go ahead and learn. Any time that we have more than 9 units, we want to know how many sets of 10 we have, just like we have one set of 10 fingers. We want to know how many sets of 10 we have. In this picture, there are 10 pennies, and the red box shows us that this is one set of 10. Instead of writing units, we write how many tens there are next to the units. If you look at the number, you can see that we write a 1 for the number of tens and a 0 for the number of units. This is how you write the number 10. The number 10 means there are 1 10 and 0 units. 10. Again, when we have more than 9 units, we write how many sets of 10 we have and then how many units are left over. In the number 10, we have 1 10 and 0 units left over. And the number 10 is written with 2 numbers, 1 and 0. This is the number 10. Now, just like any other number that we've studied, the number 10 can be written in all different sorts of ways, but you'll always see that it's written with a 1 and a 0. All of these are number 10s. Since the number 10 is new to you, and it may take a little bit of time to understand it, we won't learn any other new numbers in this lesson. So how about some Latin? We've learned the Latin number for 1, which is unus. Unus. And we've learned the Latin number for 2, duo. Unus, duo. Latin for the number 3 is tres. Tres. Unus, duo, tres. We've learned that the Latin for the number 4 is quatuor. Quatuor. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor. We learned that the Latin for the number 5 was quinque. Quinque. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque. We learned that the Latin for the number 6 was sex. Sex. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex. The Latin for the number 7 is septem. Septem. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, septem. Latin for the number 8 is octo, octo. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, octo. And the last Latin number we learned was the Latin for the number 9, novem, novem. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, novem. Now let's go ahead and learn a new Latin number. Quot sunt? Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem, decem. Latin for the number 10 is decem, decem. On your screen, there are 10 pennies. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. To write the number decem with Roman numerals, we use this green symbol on your screen. It looks like a letter X. This symbol is used anytime there is a set of 10 units. 10 units is 1/10, and this is written with the symbol X in Latin. In English numbers, we learned that there are only 10 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. With Roman numbers, there are even less symbols to know. So far, we have learned 3 of the Roman symbols for numbers. We've learned unus, which is just a straight line. We've learned quinque, which looks like a letter V pointing down, quinque. And we've learned the number decem, which looks like an X, decem. Using these 3 symbols, we can write many, many different numbers by combining them in different ways. And we've already seen this. Let's take a look. We learned the number 4 in Latin, which was quatuor. And we learned that it was written with an unus before a quinque, because 4 is 1 less than 5. And we learned the Latin for the number 9, which was novem. And when we learned that, we learned that the number novem was written with an unus before a decem. And that's because 9 is 1 before 10. That's why the symbol is written with an unus before the decem. You can see that the Romans wrote their numbers differently than we do. They didn't use units and tens to write their numbers. They had different symbols, and we'll learn more about them as we go on in Petty School Arithmetic. Quot sunt? Quot sunt? Hopefully you're smarter now than when you tried to count 0 the first time and saw no pennies. This is the Latin number for 0. The number is called nulla. Nulla. Nulla in Latin means 0 or none. We write the number with the letter N because it symbolizes nulla, 0. You've learned a lot in this lesson, so let's stop here. Now it's time to study. Go back, review your lessons, and make sure you understand all of the lesson perfectly. We hope that you've enjoyed this lesson in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy's Petty School Arithmetic program. For more resources from the Classical Liberal Arts Academy, visit us online at www.classicalliberalarts.com. God bless.